Hi, welcome back. I am happy to cook with you today. I had a request a while back to do some savory dishes, and I think they meant using freshly milled flour, and this doesn't use freshly milled flour in it, but it's another way to use the dinner rolls that we made together. So I will link the dinner roll recipe in the description box. But we recently had friends come over. They're our sweet friends, and they're getting deployed elsewhere, so we're sad to see them go. So we've been spending a lot of time together, and it's all of a sudden 10 people that I have to feed, and I want to make something good but quick that's not hard for me so that we can just hang out together. So I have a delicious crock pot pulled pork, barbecue pulled pork that we've made forever, and it's so good, and it's simple, which is what I like. Simple easy, so that you can have the day to do whatever else. There's one day of the week where we are just nuts crazy, going an hour away and back, and a lot of car time. I don't have time to cook, and by the time I get home I'm tired and don't usually want to make something, so that tends to be a crock pot day. So this is a very good meal that you could make all day long, or you can crank on high and have it done a little bit quicker. But I wanted to share some ways to use the dinner rolls that we made. Instead of making like 24 smaller rolls, I made 20 bigger rolls. So the ones who wanted pulled pork sandwiches could cut it in half and have pulled pork sandwiches. And if people just wanted pulled pork on their plate, then they had a dinner roll to eat with it. I just really enjoy this recipe. It's a crowd pleaser. We had 10 different people eat it, and we had here 3 years old all the way up to, you know, my age. So, and everybody seemed to enjoy it. So you can also adjust this recipe to your specifications. You know, I use a certain kind of barbecue sauce. You use whatever barbecue sauce you want, but simple and easy. So we're gonna not bake so much together today. You'll make the dinner rolls with this, but I hope that you enjoy this recipe, and it's nice to have quick recipes to just have in your pocket for a day where you're crazy busy, that most everybody will enjoy. And you can actually, it's a pork, but you can switch it for chicken if you don't, like people don't want pork or don't prefer pork. It works, same ingredients, works just as well with chicken also. So you have some options there. So join me today in a new way to use dinner rolls and a quick and easy meal to please everybody. We're going to start with a cup of your favorite barbecue sauce. I didn't realize when we moved to Texas how touchy of a subject this was, because people are very passionate about their barbecue sauces, and everybody's got their favorite, and it's the best in the world to them. So I'm not going to give you a brand name. So my cup has a ½ cup marking, so we do a ½ cup apple cider vinegar. I always get the kind with the mother at the bottom. It's got lots of good probiotics in it. ½ cup of chicken broth, 1/4 cup of, it says brown sugar, but I'm going to use sucanat, and it's being heated in liquid for hours and hours, so it's going to, you know, this is going to break down really nicely. Got a tablespoon of mustard powder, and I always do heaping because this recipe is for 4 pounds of pork butt, and mine is like 5.5, so I just kind of heap everything. A tablespoon of, please make fun of me, Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. We're going to do a tablespoon of chili powder, and again I'm doing a heaping. A whole onion, chopped as finely as you like. 2 large cloves of garlic minced up, or a big spoonful. I also add Italian seasoning. It actually kind of complements the barbecue pretty well. So I give this a good stir. And you'll add salt later. There's a lot of salt in the barbecue sauce, but you can add anything to taste once it's already cooked. This is just how it's gonna simmer all day long. We're gonna let this go for 7-8 hours. All right, so like I said, this is 5.5 pounds of pork. Really, you can do pork butt. You can do whatever suits your family. And this freezes really well, so it makes great leftovers. It seems a little big for the crock pot, and it is, but it's gonna, you know, shrink down as it goes in. Pretty soon we're gonna break it up in there. You put the fat side up, and it's gonna melt and drip down. And we are gonna get rid of the fat later. We're not just gonna have this one big soupy, oily, fatty mess. We will get rid of the fat part of the process. I'm gonna let this go, like I said, 7-8 hours. But I'm gonna come back every 2-3 hours. And you don't have to do this, it's just something I do because I'm OCD and weird, but I'll come back and just kind of cover it more and more with the barbecue sauce. And then it'll get to the point where you can kind of rip it apart and let it simmer even more. But I cook this on low for the 7 or 8 hours. If I feel like it, sometimes I cook it 5 hours and then I'll crank it to high just to really get it going. It really, like, sometimes you get pork that works one way and pork that works another way. If I feel like it's not as tender as I'd like it to be, then I'll crank it to high. But really, all day long, it's on a low. And yes, you can cut this down so it fits in here better, but I don't ever need to. Usually I'm doing this quick, just throwing everything in here. Then I go and do stuff for a few hours and come back. All right. Okay, it's been about 4 hours. We got busy doing stuff. I'm gonna see if I can tear this apart at all. I got these, I think at Walmart. They're not any better than forks, but I already bought them, so see that it's not wanting to come apart yet. Still needs more time. What I'm gonna do is just really cover it up with a good... I did turn it to high because our friends are coming a little bit earlier than I thought, so as quick as we can cook it better. I try not to open the pot too much because they always say with crock pots, if you're looking, you're not cooking, and that's pretty true. You let all that heat out, but once in a while to kind of baste it is good. As soon as I can get in here and tear it apart, I'm going to, so that the meat can really get tender. So we'll let it get back to cooking. Okay, this is about 5.5, 6 hours later. I did come and kind of cut these up a little bit because our friends are going to be here pretty soon. So this is the fat I'm going to just remove. Okay, so my thing is, before I start actually cutting this up and shredding it, there is a lot of fat in here, and I just don't like when my mouth gets coated with fat. And so what we're gonna do is just take that right out of here. I know that goes a lot against some people, but I mean, mostly this really is just fat. So we're gonna drain this. And we kind of put it on our dog's food. to flavor it for them. Okay, so I've lost my claws. I don't know where they are. So I'm just going to use forks and just shred all this up, of which it does so nicely because it's been cooking for so long. Usually I wouldn't cut them up into chunks like this, but I needed it to cook faster than it would because our times got changed around. You can just leave them in big chunks to cook the whole time, and they're fine that way. It's almost harder to shred it this way when they're cut into chunks. It's not as shredded looking as I'd like, but we have to do things for time's sake. From this point, you can shred it as much as you like and then take out as much of the juice as you like. What I'm going to do is add back in some barbecue sauce just to thicken this up. You could just leave it like it is now and then add some cornstarch to thicken it, but I prefer to just kind of take out the excess runny parts and then add barbecue sauce to make it thicker. All right, I'm gonna add some garlic, some onion powder, just a touch of salt, and then some more barbecue sauce. And stir it around. All right, and then I'm just gonna I'm gonna turn it to low and just let it cook and get these new seasonings, the little extra barbecue sauce, the new bits of meat, you know, as we've shredded them, more surface area of the meat is exposed. So I'm just gonna let them all kind of marinate and amalgamate together. And I'll go feed the dog the little bits of meat that came out with the fat. It's looking good. And I've made our dinner rolls that we have made together, which I will link into larger ones for buns to eat with the pulled pork. But oddly enough, most of my kids just want the bun separate and the pulled pork, but whatever. If we want a sandwich good or a deconstructed sandwich, either way. Okay, so this is 7 hours. I'm gonna add a little bit more barbecue sauce to this, or kind of maybe let people do it however they like it, but this is so good, so tasty. It's really easy, it freezes nicely. I just can't say enough about it. So if you haven't had a good pulled pork crock pot recipe, here you are. We have our friends over, so there's a lot of noise in the background, but yum, delicious. Well, forgive my dishwasher. We've been working on a month without a functioning dishwasher. We got a new one a week after the other one broke, and then we've been waiting for the repairman to come because a part was broken when we got it. I think the Lord is teaching me patience and to really appreciate everything that I have. So I'm taking it as a silver lining, but hopefully next week it'll be fixed. I hope you enjoyed the recipe. I hope it seems like something you'd like to try. Again, I just really enjoy having crockpot meals that are tasty and delicious. That seems to be something that everybody enjoys. Now, in it, I had cut up the pork into smaller kind of cubes to get it to cook faster because our timing had changed. We thought they were going to come a little bit later, and they were able to come earlier, so I needed it to cook quicker. But usually I just leave it in the bigger chunk and let it go, because I would put it in the morning and then we'd leave and do our day and come back, and then I kind of pull it apart, let that simmer a bit and drain out the excess fat. I think that makes a big difference too when you really take all that extra fat out and add some barbecue sauce to thicken it up. trying to think, I cooked this a different day. I'm doing the intro and outro on a different day than when I made it, but everybody enjoyed it. It was so tasty, and they're great leftovers. I mean, I think we've eaten the last of it by today, but they taste really good, whether in a sandwich or just kind of on its own. And my husband is so funny. He eats salads, and he'll put anything on his salads. Like, he puts the pulled pork on his salad, which is funny to me. But he's cut up old pizza and put it on his salad. So I don't know if he's a good judge of how to have leftovers. But I so appreciate y'all cooking with me and joining me today, and I am so thankful for you. And I just feel so blessed by you, and I'm praying for you. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. And we will be getting back to cooking, baking next weekend. So thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful week. Bye.